weekend. On the weekend, normally, if you're going to have trouble, it's normally when it strikes. And it did strike last night, which was Friday night. And our auger system, which is normally fairly reliable, has given up the beans completely. This here is our 8 ton bin. I can't remember, 7.5 ton bin. It's a long time in now, it's in 13 years. Paddy Cooney, he would be a brother of the guy who fitted the other bin over there, which is Paul Cooney, his brother. But what's happened is, back a while ago, this pipe wore through. So you can see there, I put a patch on it to get it up and running again. I put plenty of gutter seal around it too. It should be fine, but moisture might have got in, and what has happened is it has broken in here. In here there's a steel kind of a screw, it's like a spring. You can hear it rattling inside. And that just spins on a motor that's over there at the far corner, about 50 foot back inside the shed. And that just kind of spirals the mail in to the milking pan and drops it down in front of the hoppers in front of the cows. Last night there was a hell of a clatter in the middle of it filling. And from out here I opened an inspection point, which is here. What's happened is it's broken here somewhere. It's clattering about because the motor's moving it on the far side, but it's not connected to this. This one's not moving, so it has broken here somewhere. It broke before there, and Paddy at the time fitted the bin. He came out and he welded it somewhere here. It was a temporary job because he didn't have any of that auger with him. And he said, look, I have a small little tiny piece at the back of the van, which I might fit the weld onto it and I'll get you going. At least it'll last, might last for a couple of months. It might last a couple of days, but it'll get you going. It lasted 5 years. That's what it lasted. It was a brilliant fix in the pouring rain. So fair play to him, it lasted a lot longer than we thought it was. But now we're going to rip the whole thing out. We're going to put a brand new auger in the whole way. Not the pipe, just the steel. But you'll see it when it comes out. I don't know what the exact name of it is. Probably just the auger screw, but that's been changed anyway. But that's it, that's the joys. It's Saturday morning now. I'm just finishing the last row of cows here. I might film some of it, but I'm not going to pester the lads. I'm not going to put a camera in their face. I'm going to let them do their work and leave them alone. But if I can film little clips of them doing it, I will. Go on, go on, go on. Well, one thing about it is, there's a red sky over there. If you can see it in the distance, that red sky is your shepherd's warning, and the shepherd is right this morning because it's given very heavy rain. It's given storm conditions. You wouldn't think it now. It's lovely and calm and frosty. It's about -2 last night. I'd rather at this time of year than that mild weather, because that mild weather carries a lot of old bugs and bacteria, not just in cattle, but in humans as well. So the nice frost will clear the air. These girls here have a wee bit of cleaning out to do. Just some of the wee bits of weeds that builds up. Every 3 or 4 times we're filling the house, we take about half a barra of some of this little stemmy stuff that would come probably from a few Dawkins and things. It's just gone about 7:30 now, I think. And these girls are going to get their feed now very shortly. And one other thing I'll do when I let the machine wash is I'll just start the tractor here and let it heat up. You don't have to heat these, unlike Jerry 6420's John Deere's. There's something I wanted to mention, because a lot of people do say it in their videos. Sometimes I have to scratch my head. When I first seen it, I definitely scratched my head. But they say they learn an odd thing from our channel or pick up little tips and tricks. Now, I don't know what you could learn from us, but if you do, that's brilliant. But I will tell you, we learn more from you guys than you learn from us. And I always appreciate the comment section when people tell you how to do things differently. And I don't mind that, because some of the stuff they tell you is absolutely brilliant. And one of which, a guy called Michael, I think was the very first man to mention it to me, was the way that I was opening my bales to use the bale splitter. Beforehand, I put my bale on the back of the tractor just behind the coal there. I'd cut it down the back here, cut the back of it open, pull it to the front, and then when I drop the bale, drive forward, I'd jump off the tractor again and take off the wrap off the splitter, and then I'd open the bale. Now, I open it before I put it onto the bale splitter, drive down to the back. I only have to get off it once, and I can just pull the entire wrap, net and all off that way, rather than trying to take it towards the tractor, which makes perfect common sense. But sometimes you just do things wrong and get into a habit of doing it wrong. And that was the way I was doing it for a long time. And this, when it was mentioned to me, is so much easier, so much better. It sounds simple now, doesn't it? It. Now you see, when you look into this shed here, why the bale splitter is so handy for me, and why it'd be very hard to replace it with any machine. It just splits and falls lovely on both sides, and that does the cows for a good while and saves me an awful lot of gripping back. But one thing I will do to it is I will sharpen it. It's not cutting right. What's happening is it's forcing the arms up, and that's why the bale is starting to flip over sort of before it splits. But another thing I'll do is I'll put an extra pin in here. Because when I bought this, I said to the dealership, it's missing a pin. But it has a pin on this side and 2 pins on both sides of the blade, but none on that side. So it came to me like that, and the guy in the dealership told me, no, that's the way they come. That outer pin is just to stop the bale from spinning round. Which kind of made sense, but then I wondered, well, maybe is it a cost-saving thing more than anything. But I did see a lot of new ones out and about, and they have all the pins in them. I did see other ones that don't. But I went and I bought a pin for it, so when we're sharpening this, we'll put another pin into it, because I would think that would help stop it from actually coming up as you're cutting through the blade, even if the blade was a kind of dull of itself. And definitely would help with carrying it on the road, because sometimes if you don't put the pins in, or don't put the bale a wee bit to this side more than central, the bale will start to spin if it's kind of soft. So I'm always putting the bale on sort of off centre to compensate for that. So I'm going to put a pin into it. So loads of people ask, how do I sharpen my blades? And not just the blade on this here, chainsaws, everything. How do you go about sharpening blades? Well, this is what I use to sharpen the like of this, or a shear grab, or something similar. All that is there is a kind of like a sandpaper disc. So all I'm doing with that is kind of cleaning the blade. And you can see there, run it nice and smooth along with it. It just takes that whole rusty surface off and gives you a nice edge. Now that has a little edge on it already. But the good thing about them paper blades is it doesn't heat up the blade, it doesn't blue the blade. So you're not causing any extra heat on it. Rule of thumb, with any blade you're sharpening, you don't want to heat it up, you don't want to blue the blade, because you're taking the temp out of it, and although it might seem sharp, it will blunt much easier. So that's why I use that sanding disc. The next thing I would use is a file. And believe it or not, the old traditional file, no matter what you're sharpening, it's hard to beat. Even on a chainsaw, I have a wee machine that can sharpen blades. You've often probably seen them if you ever left a blade in to get it sharpened. Some of you might have them, but I still rarely use it. I always go back to the file. You have more control of what you're doing. You're not temping the blade. Yeah, she is sharp now, there's no doubt about that. So that's that job done. Hopefully she'll cut a little bit better now, and hopefully our bale won't rotate anymore. Hudson, you could have picked a better place to start licking yourself, in fairness. Now I know there's a few people are going to ask what that machine is. Well, the way I'm going to say it is, I bought it myself. It cost €195. It runs on a cordless drill. I'm not going to say anything about the brand of it, and I'm not going to say where I bought it, because I bought it myself. But I'll tell you where, if you want to find out what it is, go over and check out Drone Dairies. That's another YouTube channel, and I think it's back maybe 1 or 2 videos ago. he done a video on where he got his, and that's where I seen it, and that's the man I contacted to see where he got it. I got one myself, only locally, and I find it's an absolute brilliant job. There we are. There's the end of our auger out. That's the piece that broke. Just broke clean off there. Not even on the weld, so it's a new brake. Would make a savage pair of earrings. So there is the old one. It looks quite new, but it'll be full of little fractures. And there's the pieces that were welded before. So he's just pushing us through here now. It should pop down here shortly. There we are. That's all. So back in business, thankfully. Big thanks to them guys that are coming out so quick. It's not going to always happen like that. I don't know whether it was pure luck or what it was, but you wouldn't get a man, or you wouldn't expect a man to come to you the following morning after ringing them late that evening before, especially the weekend. But we're lucky, and that's the benefit of having local lads do jobs for you or buying your stuff local. It's actually Paul's brother now who fitted this whole system way back in 2008. They both do meal bins. Paudie's in Battlegym stuff, and then Paul, his brother, is just beside me here in Lavey kind of country, so it isn't too far away from me. So that's why I just rung him to see could he come a wee bit quicker to me, and he did. This here had to be opened, this clamp, and that pipe had to be pulled out. That coil that you've seen had to be pulled out. It was actually broken here as well, so what I think happened was it broke at the bin first, and then with the pure vibration, which was unbelievable, it probably sheared it off here as well. It did even rattle all the bolts that hold on these. See that? It rattled them all loose, so I'm going to put nuts on the end of them and tighten them all up again. It was a ferocious clatter when it did go. So here's our bin now, and you can see our pipe that was patched before is replaced, so that was great to get done on its own. Everything's glued and sealed, and in here, well, all the workings has been fixed. It was broken here. There's the old coil there, whatever your proper name is, auger. So this here is what came out of it. That was what was in the bottom before, in place of this plastic cap here. It had been welded before, because the rod was so long it wouldn't come out of the bottom of the bin without hitting the ground, so the guys put it up and welded it, which doesn't cause any harm. But this is the lad here that broke, so it's a new brake. There's the brake there, just sheared right off. There's the old piece that we done years ago, and you can see the way the weld was starting to break there. That was done about 5 years ago. It didn't break on the weld, it just broke in a completely new place, but it had shattered in bits. You can see there's another piece of it there. So that was a job that needed to be done. It's one of those kind of things that happen on every farm. You'll always get these breakdowns on every farm that happen when you don't really want them to happen. But is there ever really a good time? Probably not. Thanks very much for watching, folks. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again.